Could Nintendo actually be releasing a Nintendo Switch 2 or getting ready to launch one by stockpiling components? That is the question that has been asked by the internet. And I want to talk about the plausibility of this because maybe they're onto something. Who knows? Let's discuss right now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. Like 70% of you or 100% of you aren't subscribed. Everybody should hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. So with the success of Steam's Steam Deck, Nintendo really feels like Nintendo needs to step their game up, right? They've been riding the wave of Nintendo Switch, which is still selling millions of units. So let's be honest, they really don't need to do anything if they don't want to. And with the component shortage, maybe it's not the right time. But it does seem like they might be getting ready for something based on this article from metro.co.uk. Nintendo Switch 2 rumors reignite as Nintendo increases stockpile of raw materials by 600%. Nobody else reported on this, so I wouldn't say they reignited, but let's talk about this article anyway. The first evidence for new Nintendo hardware has emerged from the company's own records, which shows them getting ready for something. Clearly, the Nintendo Switch is not going to last forever. Nintendo Switch sells millions of units anyway. So they go on and just talking about all the gossip. Anyway, last year, their Rather than rely on insider gossip, which rarely proves to be true when it comes to Nintendo, this rumor is based on Nintendo's own financial reports, which show a massive increase in raw materials and supplies this year. Last year, it only amounted to 9.5 million yen, $58 million. And in 2022, it's 66.5 million yen, or 401 million pounds, actually, and 58 million pounds, a 600% increase of previous figures and double that of the 2019 figure when the Switch Lite was launched. So when you actually look at the numbers, it does seem like Metro is onto something. And there are a few possible solutions, but I do think Nintendo needs a new console. So anyway, it's nothing to do with their new R&D headquarters, which is accounted for differently. And when an investor asked Nintendo what it was for, they were given a typical vague non-answer. An official translation should be available shortly, but according to Google Translate, Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa stated that it's a technical and difficult story, so I'll omit it a lot. One of the things I have is that I have a lot of raw materials, and there is also the effect of changes in accounting treatment. This is the translation. Question 9. Inventories have increased about by 110 billion yen. Too big. What's the cause? How are you going to get rid of it? It's a technical and difficult story, so I'll omit it a lot. Here's the direct translation from this user who was live tweeting the call. Changes in accounting. That seems like a very strange answer about the impact of weekend. Yeah. The implication seems to be that there hasn't been any major change and Nintendo is just changing the way they report their spending, but that seems peculiar given the fact that there have been fluctuations similar to this before, but only prior to a new hardware launch. So no guarantee it's for the Switch 2 or even the mythical Switch Pro. So here's what I think that Nintendo could be doing. There's a few things. They could be working on some sort of Switch Pro to coincide with the launch of the new Zelda game, which is coming out in Q1 next year. They could be stockpiling a massive amount of components now while they wait on the semiconductor portion so that when they launch whatever this new console was, and maybe they actually wanted to launch it when they did the white Switch, which is on my desk over there that I never use since Metroid. Maybe they're stockpiling the components so that when they get enough semiconductors and they feel like they have a good base inventory, they will be able to launch this new hardware. it seems like a 600% increase, even for a Legend of Zelda branded Switch, seems like a lot. It seems like way too much. So I wanted to look into the rumors for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I went over to Tom's hardware guide. And it was updated June 14th. It's all quiet, no new rumors. A new Nintendo console has been tipped for a 2024 release, potentially the Switch 2. During the Q&A, due to the financial results, they said a next-gen device is coming. This was on June 14th, and suggested it may be backwards compatible with the Switch's existing library of games, as it should be. And Nintendo has reiterated that the current Switch has 4 or 5 years left in it. So I do think we get a collector's edition for Zelda, and I do think Zelda coincides with whatever this new Switch launch is. So back in May, a Nintendo console tip for 2024 release, it could be the Switch 2, so I think we get the announcement next year, and then the console releases in 2024. A new Nintendo console has been tipped for a 2024 release date by a reasonably reliable analyst, Pierce Harding Rolls of Ampere Analysis. Flagged by Video Games Chronicle, Harding Rolls reckons Nintendo will have a new next-gen console ready in some 2 years' time, but whether this will be the Nintendo Switch 2 or a completely new console range isn't fully clear. Ampere is currently forecasting a next-gen Nintendo device to be released in 2024, he said. By the end of that year, Switch is predicted to have sold through 146 million units, meaning it still has the potential to become the best-selling console ever by the end of its lifetime, selling over 158 million units and overtaking the PlayStation 2. Now, let's go look at this other story. Nintendo reconfirms Breath of the Wild 2 for 2022. It's now been delayed. And hints Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. So they have actually talked about the next console, and here's what they actually said. An accompanying port lays out Nintendo software release plan for the rest of 2022. And the good news is that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is still on the list. It has since moved to 2023. The game was confirmed to be targeting 2022, but could slip. Of course, there is still a possibility that Breath of the Wild 2 will be delayed. The results also confirm other games. Where is the note about the new console, though? Oh my goodness, this website. Good news for the rumored Switch 2. I don't know what's going on, Tom's Hardware. I'm gonna close some of your tabs because you're chugging my whole computer. Nintendo's financial results don't just contain updates on upcoming software. A Switch successor has also been teased during a Q&A session summarized by Japan-based analyst David Gibson. Nintendo was asked about carrying the Switch's existing player base over to its next console. Nintendo reply hints that not only is a next-gen device on the way, but it may be backwards compatible with the Switch's existing library, as it should be. This would definitely make sense, as both the PS5 and Xbox Series X did the same. 98 million playing users. How does that compare to the Wii? It is important KPI, and we find it meaningful, plus other KPIs, but versus Wii, the functions of Switch are very different, so comparison is not meaningful. Think about the 98 million versus next console. Into 6 year of Switch, and we are maintaining momentum. We are looking at how we expand and grow this 100 million users, leading into the next gen device. Sounds like next gen device will be backwards compatible. So they want to keep their users playing, and they want that to be on the next gen device. And that was February 3rd, 2022. So here we are in June, and now they're talking about this huge hardware buy. And it does seem like we are going to get a new Switch hardware announcement in the coming months. Now, when that is going to happen, I would place money on Q1 2023, so 6-7 months from now, or longer. And I think that would be a really smart time for Nintendo to do so. I think that's when they announce it. Actual launch, they're guessing 2024, so time will tell. Anyway, I saw that Switch story, and I was like, what has been going on with the rumored Switch? So Nintendo has actually said they are working on next-gen hardware. Of course they are. That the current Switch has 4 or 5 years left. Great. So your hardware is going to be just fine for a while. And that the next-gen hardware will be backwards compatible. Ideally, all hardware is able to do that, actually. So that was the Nintendo update. And if you're wondering how this sort of ties back to what Xbox and PlayStation are going to do, I have to wonder if they coincide their mid-generation refresh with that targeted 2024 release date. I have said time and time again that due to the semiconductor shortage, I think they are going to push that further out. So time will tell, and we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments below about all the different hardware SKUs that are coming. And while I have you here, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, because come on, so many of you are not subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. And you know what? If you want to take another step further, you can become a member. I post every video ad-free for all members. So if you hate the ads, that is one way you can turn them off. I offer that at every tier. Thank you so much to everybody who does support this channel. I greatly appreciate you all. Hit that join button if you would like to become a member. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.